Thank you for tuning into another episode. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Jake's near-death story starts with a serious injury from a fall. I had gotten stuck on a very large rope swing near a friend's house. My shoe was stuck in the loop and the harder I pulled the more my shoe came off. I was suspended 25 feet in the air and the only thing holding me up were my arms that were quickly getting tired. If my hands let go, and my foot still stuck, it would flip me upside down. I would fall 25 feet straight down head first to the ground. As my finger slipped further and further, I kept trying to pull my foot free and at the last second, my shoe came off and my hand slipped to the very bottom of the rope. My heart racing and my palms sweaty from that narrow escape, I started plotting my descent, looking for a safe landing site free of debris. Thinking to drop feet first, but now with only one shoe I favored my right foot, so as I fell I landed with both feet and both hands hitting the ground at the same time. It had only felt like my ankles and wrists were spraying, but I kept not looking at my right hand, as if I unconsciously knew something was wrong. Then I did a triple take staring at my right arm. I thought it was a branch and wondered how I landed so close to it because I made sure the area was clear. I then spent several minutes tracing and retracing the thing back to my shoulder in disbelief. It didn't hurt, therefore, it cannot be true. Even at that time, I could only suspect the nerve was severely pinched off. I had cleanly dislocated my right hand, at the wrist, from my arm with the skin stretched so tight it was translucent and you could clearly see the bones in the joints. As I slowly lost my composure I tried to keep myself busy, looking for my shoe, trying to keep from getting dirt all over myself, find my shoe and attempting to put it on, all without trying to move my arm a millimeter. I kept trying to get to my knees and I couldn't do it without moving my arm, so after 15 minutes of frustration I moved it slightly. Suddenly I was washed over with a sickness in my gut, like I was going to throw up. Then I started gagging like I was dry heaving, but then it didn't stop and kept intensifying over the next several minutes. Until the gagging was so intense that my tongue was clearly visible 6 inches out of my mouth like a cartoon, and then suddenly it folded over and I swallowed it. The pain only kept intensifying, and I kept telling myself it hurts but it will relax, then I'll be able to take a breath finally. I kept waiting, realizing I had swallowed my own tongue but still thinking I would be fine, but then I started to think, what if it doesn't stop? Like an internal clock that had been ticking, waiting the usual time for a moment for a breath from vomiting was up. I started to get concerned. I can only guess how long I waited till I started getting desperate. I tried to use my good hand to physically pull my tongue out by trying to shove my fingers in my mouth, but the shuddering of the convulsion was too violent by then and I only poked myself in the eye very hard, seemingly blinding that eye. As I started to approach having gone longer than I had ever gone without breathing, I started begging to live, pleading, bargaining, rationalizing that I'm too young. Also thinking of all the things I wouldn't get to accomplish and see and do, of all of the people I would leave behind, and seeing flashing images of them all in the blink of an eye. And a voice in my head that was mine but someone else was saying things, responding to all that I was saying, answering, explaining and questioning me in a calm tone, where I was anything but calm at that point. At this point, the pain was so bad now I couldn't stand it. The best of my recollection, as my mind won't allow me to remember this part fully, I could feel all of my internal organs individually, crushing together painfully. My lungs felt as if they would explode. I went from begging to live, to begging to die quickly. Then I got calm and the panic fled from me. The pain was numbing but my body was still rigid as a statue at that point, as if I couldn't move an inch even if I wanted to. As the voice in my head, that wasn't my own, said its final words, "Besides, what do you have to live for?" I replied, nothing. But it was as if I knew I was lying, as if the question wasn't actually poised to me, but my heart. My mind was a muddle but my heart was true. Again flashing images of everyone I ever knew. Then I saw a vivid image of a graveyard, very vibrant dark green grass, I think it was raining, and a large gathering of people dressed in black around an open grave. Someone was being buried. I immediately knew it was my grave and I saw all those people feeling so terrible. I thought the pain I had been feeling was too much. But seeing those people, I couldn't bear it. It hurt me more than anything I could ever begin to imagine. All of their pain immediately became mine and all of the calm I had felt fled from me as quickly as it had come, and a righteous fury like nothing I've ever known consumed me. I furiously declared, I won't let this happen. I won't let it. I then felt as if I was on fire, but not in a painful way. Again, another moment I have problems fully recalling. Somehow I could then move for whatever reason and proceeded, I believe, to twist my arm and re-pinch the nerve so the pain and the gagging stopped and my tongue relaxed and came out as well. I then took my weak left arm, which I'm right-handed, so I used my left hand like a hammer, struck my right wrist, and set the bones back into place. There was a still burning sensation from my right wrist, but it was nothing after what I had just gone through. I still kept my right wrist perfectly still, but I just sat there. I don't know how long, but I just sat there trying to maintain my sanity, trying to not believe what had just happened. Briefly thinking to myself this would make a great story, and then realizing I can never tell it to anyone and vowed to take it to my grave. Thinking, somehow knowing I shouldn't know what that is like, I shouldn't have knowledge of something like what I just experienced. Like an anchor, like a weight, a burden to carry. The burden of knowledge crushing me, almost driving me insane right there. Thinking I got to forget this, never talk about, the sooner I forget the better, I can't walk till I do. Seemingly, I succeeded. All I could hear was the chattering of an unknown amount of voices in my head, none of them making any sense but at the same time distracting me from forming any clear thoughts or actions. Finally, after a long time, one voice started to drown them out, my own. Get up. Get up, it's not over. It's not over yet, get up. Back to my house, I went praying someone would be home, thinking that was the end, that the worst was behind me. I was wrong.